All right. Good. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna let Christina in here. That's a good thing. All right, back to the presentation. So since I'm on waitlisted, I'm not going to dwell on this too much. But if you are waitlisted in any other school, you're just waiting to see what they're gonna do. You've already picked a school to deposit to, is the point there. Okay, now we get to some of this new stuff. Here's how most parents will pay for school. This is a new view graph because this is the most popular question I got last week from people who are not in the meeting. I get all these questions from people who don't attend regularly, but they're good questions. I make sure I cover them. Here's how most parents will pay for the direct and indirect costs. Then I'll cover in a minute how quite a few will too. May 1st is going to be a deposit, and it'll be cash, credit, no loans for the deposit, and it doesn't come out of financial aid, obviously, and it does count toward the cost of the school. Then you're going to have student loan activation, most of you will. It'll be up to $5,500 in subsidized and unsubsidized loans. I'll talk about what if you don't in a minute. The parent, let's see, let me close that, good. The parent loan application and approval, this is how most people will. The loan will be up to the total college cost. That's different than direct costs. That would be the direct costs plus all the other indirect costs that are not included on the bill. These are usually they're going to be taken care of now through June 2023. And if they're not taken care of, the school will start sending interesting correspondence to you. Interesting things will occur when you go to orientation if you don't address these two loans that you need, or somehow make a large payment or address that fact. We'll talk about that in a minute on the payment side. If the parent loan is not approved, we'll look at that on the next slide. But after the approval and all that, you'll have books, material, personal, student costs, and technology that are done independent of the bill. They're just additional costs for college, typically paid for by cash or a refund from your parent loan. These are typically how they're paid for. So this is how you'll pay for college, how most parents will pay for college, or pay the additional costs for college, because this model assumes that like most of you, there'll be something left after you take out the financial aid. Just about everyone has that. And there's other books, materials, and personal student costs and technology. July 2023 is when it occurs, and then continuously in the 23-24 academic year, it's something you're exposed to. But I will point out that that's probably only about 10% or 7 to 10% of the total cost for college. The main cost for college is in the direct cost, which is the room and board and tuition. Board is food, talk about food later. Cash payments for college. Say you go a totally cash method of paying for college without installments. And now I'll talk about the installments around this. May 1st, it's the same for everybody. You pay cash. The first 1 to 3 months dorm payment will come due. Typically, schools will want it at the end of June. They want that in a one-time payment. They want you to pay the first 3 months of your dorm, unless they detect that you have loans that you have approved, or your financial aid is so high that there's only a few dollars you owe, a couple thousand you owe or something. They're gonna ask you for the first 1 to 3 months of dorm pay. Usually it's 3 months actually. And then they'll want you to pay monthly starting in August. The first semester tuition and mandatory fees are due. They typically will want those. And these take place from July through August. There's an exception, HBCUs, and I do have 3 or 4 of you like this. HBCUs and traditionally Black colleges, by the way, traditionally Black colleges like Southern, it's a state university that's traditionally Black. It's not fully Black. There are students of all races in traditionally Black colleges because they're state schools, right? There's just not a lot of people of other races, but there's some there. Traditionally, Black colleges and HBCUs, typically it's August 1st through 15th, they want that payment. And they want it to cover the full semester. And they want including the first 3 months of your dorm payment, which they already had from before, right? Remember, this is if you're paying everything in cash. In many HBCUs, TBCs, and other colleges, the first semester payment is required before you move into the dorm. You know, and every year at HBCUs and mostly HBCUs, some traditionally Black colleges, there's a stream of students that they're putting back on planes. I forget the group that does, and sending them back home because they have to have full payment. They'll show up without their parents and they find out it's not paid for. Of course, majority of schools are different. They'll let you go in the dorm and just bill you. You know, and some of them won't either, though, by the way. They're starting to change on that a lot now. The first semester balance is on the bill. The second semester is on hold for payment. In other words, if there's a balance on the bill, other schools will always hold up the registration. They put a hold on the registration for the second semester until the first semester balance is paid in full. Typically, they'll inform the student around October 15th that they won't be able to register for the next semester. Just telling you the way it is. Now, there are other schools. Now, I should have said, I didn't put this here, I'll say it now. So there are schools that at the orientation or just before it, better watch out, better really watch your emails. They're telling you now, in some cases, you can sign up for quarterly payments or payments every 2 months. Every now and then you find a school where you can pay every month. Sometimes that happens. But again, you want to be sure you can actually do it. Remember, you've picked this cash method and you don't have any loans, but on the other hand, you could have substantial payments. Along those lines, this is a sticky topic for me because it seems like every year I have to deal with, and Christmas kids are home and tell me they're not going back. And the reason is because of money. And you actually know about it before you start that semester. And I feel so bad when that happens. Books, material, personal student costs, and technology, that we know that's going to happen. And that's the same as the review graph before. All right, so this is how you pay when it's cash. Somebody said, well, what if it's a mixture of cash and loans? And you can kind of guess that you just pay less cash. You do still take out a loan in any case. In any case, you'll know what's on the bill, and this model is still valid, that July and August, you're making those payments for the first semester. And most schools will not let you start without it. There's a few that will. I would say half will. They'll let you go ahead and start, but then in October, if you haven't paid, they'll put a hold on the second semester. Okay, any questions on that? I'm guessing there's no questions out there. Oh, since it's just a smaller group, you guys can just ask me questions. Okay, let me go on. Oh yeah, here is the student loan activation. I forgot about that. You could do a combination. I did mention that, I just didn't show the block, where a student could do a student loan, $5,500, and lower the cash payment. That'd be a hybrid kind of a combination. Because as you know, I do recommend that students pay something for college. And I think coming out of college and owing about $250 a month for 3 to 7 years, it could be 3 years by they give forgiveness. That's already built into the system, which is why the current forgiveness I don't totally understand. But you could make your payments on time, $300 a month. If you can't pay $300 a month, then probably there's some career stuff you need to know about in college to not be at that point. But student loan activation normally occurs right about now too, and I do have a view graph for that later. Okay. Yeah, here it is right here. I think I showed this view graph before. Go to FOSSA.gov, click on complete the aid process at the top of the page. You got to do entrance counseling, and then you got to do a promissory note. It's going to take over an hour to do all this, but when you do that, it's an entitlement program. The loan program is an entitlement program. You're entitled to it and you get it. There's no credit check or anything like that. It's just the way that happens. Okay. These controls. All right, good. Okay. This will activate the $5,500 loans for the first year of college. If you do not take out this loan and you're trying to pay by cash, that's fine, but your first bill for college will freak you out. Try not to let that happen, because remember, they wouldn't have the loan to credit or any financial aid if it was only the loans that you got from the school. And funny things will begin to happen with your housing. Like if you deposit for housing, they start to tell you that your housing is in jeopardy and they could put it on hold or give it to someone else. They'll start trying to scare you. Just be aware of that. Just make sure you make those cash payment milestones. And of course, the parent loan application, that you can apply for it online. You'll know within minutes whether you're approved, in seconds, 10 to 13 seconds, you're approved. I'll tell you the things you select when you're doing the application. Select that you get the refund check, not the student. It's your loan. Select to let the school determine your plus loan amount. I think if you're going to do a plus loan, let's just do it and not have to worry about anything else the rest of the year. You're going to go that way. You'll know if you're approved in 10 to 13 seconds. Have this completed master promissory note. Under complete the aid process, allow for 10 minutes to do that. So it takes a little over, not long, 20 minutes for the parent one to be done. Okay. See, on the student one, it's the entrance interview or the loan counseling that takes an hour. Okay, what will happen at orientation? Students will learn all about campus life. Now, it's mandatory for CSU and UC. If you're going to miss your orientation, you better tell them. They could disenroll you. I see it happen every year. They disenroll students because they didn't sign up for orientation, nor did they tell them they weren't coming. It's mandatory to learn about the college before you go. And that means, yes, it means you're paying the cost to get to the campus. Residential life, and there's a residential agreement that's usually signed at orientation. And that contract is heavy. You should really read it carefully. It tells you your responsibilities as a student of the university, living on the campus, in the dorm and campus life, and participating in campus life. It's very, very clear on what's allowed and not allowed, and will be the basis for resolving conflicts with your roommate later on. So really read that contract carefully. I have a lot to say about that later. I have a few view graphs about roommates that I never have said in these meetings before that I think are very important. Food, you learn about the food plans. I'll talk about those later. Campus activities and organizations. And right now you should be planning to be active on your campus. Students who are active on the campus become a part of campus life, and they tend to stay and not stop out of school and not feel alone. A lot more to say about that later. Social opportunities, you'll learn about that. Academic departments in life, you get to meet some of the professors. So a lot happens at orientation. Course registration begins, you meet your advisor. Parents will learn how and when to pay. I've talked about a little already. Parent organizations on the campus, if there's one, you'll learn about it. Health services and student records. Deadlines for semester payments. They give the exact deadlines. Cash payment options and installments. And then a little bit of parent loan direction if it's a campus that makes you sign up with them. And then you can get your parent loan online, or they do it for you. You might hear about that at orientation. What do I need to know about housing? Okay. Deposits not later than May 1st. I think you should be depositing housing. You should have deposited already. Deposit right away. Students will sign the residential agreement. There it is again. Read it carefully. Pay the first housing payment. Most times it's prior to financial aid crediting. Used to be they would wait till that first payment after you get your financial aid, but schools more and more are doing 1, 2, and 3 months of payments prior to the financial aid. It's a surprise to parents, it really is. Sometimes it's very high. Monthly dorm payments begin when the financial aid run. Oh, by the way, the ones that are very high, they'll also offer you a payment plan where you can pay every month, and that will lower the first payment substantially. Sometimes it's every 3 months, but that may or may not lower the payment. But definitely watch email closely. Students, I'm going to need you. When you get email about money, anything relating to the bill, you should forward it to your parents. Please, because they're all going to be very important this time of year. Monthly dorm payments begin when the financial aid runs out in the first and the second semester. So usually you start off with, even if you say you have financial aid that covers most of your costs, well, you'll start the year and you may not see a bill that you can't pay. And then you start seeing that you got to pay for rent suddenly for your dorm, you realize your financial aid ran out. If financial aid fully covers school costs and the parent loan covers everything else, then you need no housing payment, right? That's why I said get the parent loan for the full amount if you're going to do it, and then don't worry about anything the rest of the year, okay? Oops, I'm tripping. Roommate tips part 1. This didn't work, right? But that's okay. We'll read one bullet at a time. Do not live alone your freshman year, okay? If you want to, it's a clue that you're not ready to live away from home. Do not live in a single. Parents don't allow it. I think about 1 out of 2 times my students pick singles, they come home. A lot of them stay home at Christmas, and they didn't tell me they were in a single. There's something about everything happening around here, and you're in a single, around you at the college, and you're in a single. You need socialization and making friends and acquaintances your first year. A common cause for students returning home is loneliness and depression, i.e. a lack of connection. They'll say, I didn't connect with the campus. It's really an important bullet. Recommendation, do not room with a friend. Some of you are already planning to. Family or anyone you have known outside of school, including a friend of your parents' children. I really, this gets a little bit of a us and them, us against the world going on there. But think about this. If you each get a separate roommate, you'll still have your best friend there, or whoever it is. But the 4 of you each will know 2 new people. Smiles. Better relationship situation. I'm big on freshmen meeting as many people as they can their first year. In fact, you'll see schools that have these beautiful dorms and spacious, and they're really nice. And you'll see you can live with 2 other people, but you each have your own room. But many of those schools, the first year, the housing is different. The students are closer into each other. I guess you know why. They want them to meet people. The housing staff will survey you, the student, and then suggest a pool of roommates or a roommate. Often they will share the social media of the other student to stimulate conversation. Yep, they will share yours too. In fact, one school, you can't move on in the application unless you share your social media, and then they verify it, then they'll have you come back. They want to make sure that you have social media. So, and social media counts as the typical forms. I know you don't use Facebook anymore, so you could have Instagram, that's fine. I think a lot of you use that. No, Snapchat and TikTok are not the type of social media where people will learn about you, okay? There's another one you can use, and I always forget what it is, so I won't do it. Any questions on that so far? I hope that Bailey and Quinn are watching my chat for questions, and parents, you can speak right up if you have a question, okay? More about housing, roommate tips part 2. I used to call this housing 101, housing 102, but I just go part 1, part 2. The housing staff, as I said, will survey you. Now watch this. Often they will share the social media. Here we go. Transgender students will room separately, okay? They have a whole separate arrangement for them, trans men and trans women. But in many schools, lesbian and gay students may be in your pool. This is a tolerance versus approval challenge. And we should all be very tolerant of other people, even if we don't approve of their behavior. This is something I'm going to cover when I do this sessions for students only, and I'll talk about those at the end of the day, give you an overview for those. Definitely, the institution will push you towards white, Native, Asian, and Hispanic students, or other ethnicities and nationalities different than yours. They want to have students mixed in with other. One of my students at Sacramento State has a Hispanic roommate and an Asian roommate. Okay, and they get along pretty well. I have another student at the same, so I'm just thinking about Sacramento State today, who just went there, has a black roommate and a white roommate. There you go. They try to mix it up. They try to get it so that you're meeting different people who have different backgrounds from you, but are in the same age windows and have some of the same things you like. Okay. Part 3. It's a lot to this, right? The value of dorm living. Students learn valuable social skills. They often find friends for life in the dorm or as roommates. Sometimes they're not even roommates. They're across from them in the dorm. Become friends. Often it is a roommate, though. My daughter has a couple of great friends she met in college. And like college is where you meet a lot of your good friends. Some people meet their husband and wives in college or while they're in college. Roommates, I should have roommates there, prevent isolation and you develop the concept of brother and sister's keeper. You take care of each other. Hey, I was worried. Where were you? You know, and then you're not even friends. You're just someone you're gonna check in on them, and you'll tell, hey, you'll let your roommate, hey, I'm going to the store. Okay. Students learn how to deal with difficult social situations, and these do come up in dorm life. 1.2 roommates while they're in college will be the so-called roommate from hell. But that's a good experience that I think we should not protect students from, because we as parents, we as adults know there are people that are hard to get along with. Students learn to push back, but not treated fairly. And the thing that drives parent crazy, what they can tolerate in a roommate behavior and what they cannot. And I know that drives parents crazy. You should tell them this, you should tell them that. But it's all about the student. They're learning what they can tolerate and what they can't. You learn they might complain about things, but there's a line they won't cross when dealing with their roommate. This is all very normal. Boy, a lot more on that later, parents, when I tell you about have the parent-only session. Part 4, miscellaneous issues with roommates. When the university sends the roommate information, please, you student, all my students here, you make the first contact. In our next meeting, which will be our last parent and youth meeting, then the rest will be all students only, I'm going to talk about how to initiate the conversation. Don't wait to be caught. Wait, let me find out. Quinn, are you hearing this? Is Quinn here? Quinn? Nope, she's not hearing me. All right. Let's find out about Bailey. Hey, Bailey, are you here?
Yes. I believe Quinn is just on her phone, but I believe she's here.
What?
Yeah.
Anyway, let me ask you then. So at GW, did you make the first contact your freshman year? Do you remember?
No, unfortunately I don't.
What? Why you don't remember?
It was a while ago.
Do you want to comment on any of this? Come on now. You were far from home. They would love to hear your comment.
What would you like me to talk about?
Okay, talk about socially getting along with someone you never met.
Okay, so I don't really remember exactly how it went down, but my freshman year, I believe we were all pretty much open, and if I'm not mistaken, we emailed each other prior to meeting and decided that we were gonna all sit down and come up with an agreement. I mean, for GW, if I'm not mistaken, we had to do that anyways.
Right.
So I think that's one of the incentives that made us reach out. And so we decided we were going to meet up together, come up with our agreement, and stuff like that. And then also in our emails, if I'm not mistaken, we kind of introduce ourselves that way as well. So yes, as far as that, it kind of went smoothly because we were all under the same understanding that we were going to come together, sit down, talk about stuff like how we wanted to deal with the common areas and stuff like that.
So you don't remember, you never had any, I don't think I heard from you about any tense situations.
No, we had a minor situation, and that was, I can speak about that. I'm fine speaking about it. Me personally, I locked the restroom when I'm taking a shower. Our shower and bathroom was connected, and me personally, I just felt better, even though we had a even though we had a door, I just am kind of used to like growing up. If someone's, in the bathroom, nobody else walks in. So that was the only thing that we did have to bring in someone just so that we all can sit down and talk about it. Just because I know that personally, if I'm not mistaken, one or two of my roommates didn't really agree with that, but it never became anything big. We were all able to work it out and, everything was fine. So that was probably like the only thing out of my whole college experience.
Well, yeah, that's good. See, you had some good information there. It's probably a good time as any to do the little test here, Bailey. Hold on here. Let me for the test. Let me go back to my view here. Let's see here. I have a little exercise. This is a word from your sponsors. Any students that can hear me, I know you hear me. Let me see. Let me just make sure. Does Michaela hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, there's a voice. Mariah, you hear me? Mariah?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm gonna do something I usually do in person, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Kim, is yours there? Or you just there for your kid?
I'm here for my kid.
That's okay. Well, maybe I'll have you do it too. I don't know. Is Denobi there? Is she out? Denobi Jr., the younger there? I can't hear you. You're muted. She's not there, I guess. All right. Anderson, are you there? He's there. All right. And
Yes, I am.
Good. And Erica, you're there.
Yeah.
I can't see y'all on camera, but you got to be on your honor on this. Troy, I know Troy's there.
Hello.
I'll probably do this again when we're in person. I don't know. And I think that's everybody. So here's what I want y'all to do. All y'all who's going to be in dorms with people. I think that's everybody here. I didn't hear anybody local. Take your hand and do like this. Like rub it on the back of your neck, like you're massaging your neck. And then I want you to go down a little bit lower, just a little bit lower. I know you remember, Sister Kim, don't make me laugh. And I want you to massage there. You feel that bony thing that just, rub that. Y'all feel that? You feel that, Erica?
Yeah.
Let's see, Troy, you feel that?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Michaela, you feel that?
Yeah.
Mariah, you feel that?
No. Yeah.
Okay, you feel that? Okay, that's a backbone. I want y'all to use it when you get to your dorm. Don't let nobody run over you. If you need some strength, call me up. I can help you with that. I'm an expert in that. Use that backbone and them values you learned at home. Glory to God. Sorry, I get excited about that. It's a chance for growth. That's an advantage of being in the dorm. You learn how to deal with situations and to use that backbone. I call it a social growth opportunity. I often make a joke that when you're a freshman and somebody says, hey, so-and-so, you go, yes. But then by the time you are late sophomore or junior, when they call your name, you go, what? That what is you getting a backbone and not letting people run over you. Sorry, y'all, I get excited about that. I have a lot more to say about that when we get to our meetings. What if I am nervous about living someone who's a different race or sexual preference? Well, it will probably happen. You're going to have something like that. I'm not saying it'll be sexual preference. And I know it scares parents to death, but this generation can adjust to that. If we understand, and I'm an evangelical Christian man of God, if we understand tolerance versus approval. Look, Jesus Christ went home with sinners. Jesus Christ forgave sinners and was with sinners. Concerns are understandable, but students can and should try hard to overcome it. I just thought I'd bring that up. Get a hold of me if you need some help with that one too. I've done a lot with that. I got a couple of my students that have come out of colleges with 2 or 3 friends for life. And imagine that, one of them's gay and it didn't turn them into being gay. Okay? It's a great experience, really, if you think about it. What do I need to know about food? Let's talk about food. Usually paid for at the same time as housing, and I might blow your mind with this one. Generally, the options are 7 14, some schools is 11, they don't have 14, or 21 meals per week. Your instinct would say, oh, 3 meals a day, 21 meals a week, but it's substantially more expensive. Here's a fact. Students will not sit down for 3 meals a day. Meals that are not used are lost for good, and they start all over, they clear the account the next semester. You'll find your student having to eat like 10 meals to catch or give. And when I show up for schools in December, often they're trying to take me to eat in the cafeteria twice before I leave. Because they have free meals. It's a good time to get free meals. When I go to Sonoma, I always get free meals. But that's because people have bought the 21 meal or sometimes the 14 meal plans. You remember, they can graze. Students tend to graze and they can eat at different places. Sometimes they get separate cash accounts that they can use for graze in other places. Many campuses have other eating options on campus where they can either use their food card or get the meals way reduced. It's amazing. I think it's GW. You can go to some of the restaurants around GW. I think Howard too, as a part of your food plan. Isn't that amazing? Recommendation, pick 7, 11, or maybe 14 meals. Then you can add money to the account if it's needed, okay? It's easy usually to add money to the account. Wait, well, let me go to our expert, Bailey here. Hey, Bailey.
Yes.
What did you do?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Because
What did you do about food at GW at the time? They're totally changed this year. I'll tell you about that another time. But what did you do when you were there?
So GW technically isn't like your traditional college where there are major cafeterias.
Mm-hmm.
We have like a small cafeteria on the more secluded part of campus. So I did use that, but our G World card was connected to places like Safeway and Whole Foods. So I did utilize that a lot. But yeah, that was pretty much.
Well, you'll be interested in knowing, Bailey, that GW has changed now. Now they have 7 eating halls around the campus.
Oh, that's good.
Interesting, huh? And you can do the other, and you can go anywhere you want. How you like that?
Yeah, but I did utilize all the food places around campus. They had a lot of food places connected to GW since it wasn't like a traditional, like UCLA has. UCLA have major cafeterias. We had a lot of food places connected to GW. So I did take advantage of a lot of that. But there were a lot of places I still didn't get to go to that I didn't even realize until probably towards the end of college that, I had the opportunity to go to use my card at.
Okay. All right. What about a 2-year college? Now, you might be surprised. You should still be interested in this, even if you're going to 4-year. Remember, there are 2 uses for 2-year college: credit recovery or enhancement for 4-year college. How about that? I'll show you in a minute. I'll remind you of that in a minute. I showed this at an earlier meeting. You can start this summer enhancing. Try to finish early. Next slide coming. Alternate to the first year or 2 years of college. Some people just make it an alternative. I know 2 people that are going to the 2-year college for the first 2 years. LA Trade Tech College as a great for teaching and mentorship, very job oriented. We are still using them for their summer program. If you want to do a summer online class because you're busy, you want to do it online for credit, contact Martinez, who is here now. cmartinez.eep@gmail. I have her email address at the end. Christina, are you there? I don't know if she's there right now. El Camino College has a program called Project Success. I'm gonna do a video about that. If you have people are looking at 2-year college, they should really look at El Camino. What do I need to know about class registration? The registration process begins at orientation, and maybe some parent frustration with the way it works. It's weird, parents. Students learn how to register and then often forget how to register. I'd say about half will kind of forget after about 2 or 3 weeks, and they usually have to call back the registrar. That's okay. There's a lot going on when they visit the campus for orientation. It's actually pretty exciting, and they're trying to cover details of registration. Treat your advisor like a true advisor, not your life director. Here are some general education classes that are needed and and previously in which students needed, I'm sorry, I didn't word that right. Here's some classes which previous students have done. They're all listed there, and it's an updated list. So you should come to orientation with classes on your list that you're looking at. These are classes where students have done well in academically, and they thought were worthwhile and valuable. If you find that you can't get all your classes, just patiently wait for them to open after you leave the orientation. But come to orientation with these on your shopping list, so to speak. So when your advisor, asks you what classes you like, if you say, I don't know, they'll put you in some class that doesn't work out for you. There's certain classes that are a problem the first year. I wouldn't do philosophy. I wouldn't do a foreign language. I wouldn't do any kind of logic and reasoning class. I would not do till later. You're a different student. You're way different. I wouldn't do any classes that are not 100 level classes. I wouldn't do 200, 300, 400 level classes as a freshman. Sometimes it's, oh, that looks interesting, I'll take it. I would not do that. Other than that, just work with your advisor at orientation, listen to what they're telling you, and you'll begin the registration process at that time. Then when you leave orientation, you continue registering. Here's a typical first year schedule for a student that you'll see at a school. They're all pretty much the same. Intro to writing, which is an English class. There's always an intro to university life. It's going to be required. There's going to be one each semester. There are 3 credits. You need them in order to graduate, but it introduces you to how to survive on that campus. So it's kind of important. You have some kind of upper math for engineering students, biochemistry. They'll throw one of those at you for pre-med students or students that are majoring in biology or something leading to medicine. Intro to business. It's going to be some kind of intro to business course for business majors. And then that's when you get into the general ed courses after that. There's the general ed courses. I had some on the previous slide. Here's a typical tally. I recommend you take 16 to 18 credits per semester. You only need 12 to keep your financial aid or your scholarship. But if you take 12 credits a semester, it will take you 6 years to graduate. I hope everybody heard that. You want to take 16 to 18 credits to give yourself a margin. Really 15 is needed, but take 16 to 18 to give yourself a margin. Now, if you can't get the school to give you the classes, and you should be able to, it's interesting the way they charge you. They'll charge you for 12 to 18 credits. How does this work? Wait a minute. They'll charge you up to 16 credits, one set price. Some schools do unlimited. That's why I have 18 there. And then every credit over that you pay extra, but 16 credits will get it done. You can get out of school on time. English is 3, university life typically is 4, intro to the class major. And if you add those up, you actually have 13 credits. But look, this is why you want to take classes in the summer. To graduate in 4 years, you need to average 15 to 16 credits, 17 to 18 for engineering. This is why you want to hit those summer classes. I'll show you how to do it in a minute. Any questions on that so far? Then I'll go over the plan to make sure you finish in 4 years or 3 years. And, parents have this conversation with your student. It's very important. You don't want to be you're taking out a parent loan, paying on that loan for any more semesters than you need to. And if necessary, if you'd like to do it in less time. Here's a typical plan to finish in 4 years. This gets you 136 credits, which is way more than is needed to graduate. It's typically 120 to 128 credits. This might allow you to have a minor, who knows? If it's 120 to graduate, that's 136 in the lower right corner down here. Look what's happening in summer. This summer, I'm saying take 2 classes. Then in the fall, I'm being very conservative. I'm saying 14, right? 14 and 14, right? But you took the summer classes, so you're okay. And the next summer, you're taking 6. This way, your load is nice and light, and you're getting enough credits, more than enough credits, if you see each year, as you go out here to the out years in 26, 25, more than enough credits to graduate on time. Okay, I really think that's what engineering students need 140 to 145. So clearly they'll need to, these 14s are going to have to be 16s, especially in years 2 through 4. Okay. So this is a great plan. You might want to hang on to this, get a copy of the presentation, and just let your students know this is the plan they should be working to. But nevertheless, some people might finish in 3. A good amount of my students do. I bet you about 10%, maybe 20 of my students have finished in 3 years. There's your summer, but then look what's happening in fall and spring. You're taking more credits. In the summer, you're loading up a little more, but you finish in 3 years, 126 credits, lower right corner. Then under this plan, you do that, and you could add a minor for that last year very easily. Okay, if they want to do that. I don't like minors when it makes a student take 5 years. It's just a crutch. Look, by the time you get to the 4th year, you should know what career you want. It doesn't take, a degree for everything you want to do. It really does not. It's a matter of experiences. We've had that conversation before, and we definitely will have it some more when we do the student-only sessions, when I'm having sessions with them, should you decide to be there. I have to give you a little bit of alphabet soup every week. The only one I'm giving you this week is SAP, Satisfactory Academic Progress. Students must have a cumulative GPA of 2.0 and 12 credits per semester. There needs to be 75% progress checks for the degree. In other words, you have to be 70% progress when they check for your degree after 2 years. You got to be making progress towards your degree. What happens if SAP is not reached in the first semester? Well, probation occurs, and hopefully the cumulative will be 2.0 and 24 credits by the time you finish. If you're not there, you will be asked to leave the institution and return in a year. And that's called stop out. Stop out, 95% of students will not return to their first campus after a stop out. The importance of coming to these upcoming sessions, we really help you with this. We're going to be doing this, not May through June this year. This year it's June and a tiny bit of July. We have some sessions coming up for youth only that will really help. And we'll give you plenty of advance notice starting the day, and I'm going to do a video on it. I'm going to send the schedule out. It's very, very important. But why do students stop out of college? I decided after much thought not to make this a list to show you what's happening in the greater college world, rather than just my program, because certainly the list is shorter on my program on why they stop out for those that are active. Those that are not active, they're subject to these. So I thought I should put these here because I know I'm doing this as a video and eventually people will see this, maybe all over the place, they'll see this. Insufficient funds for college is a common reason for stop out. There's no doubt about it. This is why I spent a lot of time with knowing how much you're going to pay for college. I did a lot of sessions on figuring out what it's going to be. And then today I even covered how you actually pay. I actually covered that today. Something changes, loss of academic merit or athletic scholarship. Something's lost, and then now all of a sudden you can't really do college. Inadequate understanding, or can't do that particular college. Inadequate, I got students right now, it seems like it's way up. I have a record number of students that are returning after their first year of college this year. I think some of it has a lot to do with COVID and the response to COVID, and how parents kind of thought that students deserved to get the school of their choice. And sometimes it was a funding issue. It just was more expensive than they thought. Inadequate understanding of what it would cost and how payment would be made. This is why I covered that today. That's a new view graph. I said, usually this causes a return during Christmas or early in the second semester. I've got 2 calls that students have told me they're coming back and they think they can transfer and start in the fall in CSU, and you can't. You'll have to spend a year in 2-year college. And they're surprised. It's not like high school. You can go from one school to the other. There's certain deadlines if you wait until the second semester. And if you leave at Christmas, you might make the deadlines and be able to do something, but you may not have enough credits accumulated because CSU doesn't take students, nor does UC. Certainly UC, I don't even know if they even take transfers like that. They don't take students until they can start their 3rd year on time with their major. So that usually drives students to 2-year college first. So definitely how you pick is very important. And adequate understanding what would cost, how payment will be made. Let's see, the loans are too high after all. They knew the loans would be high, but then the job situation is tenuous or it changes. And they realize their long-term security in their job is not there. And the miracles do not happen. Miracles does not happen. I mean, the miracle does not happen. Some people are praying that there'll be a miracle of some sort, things will change, and they don't. And then that's where you get to stop out of college. Social conflict and detachment, depression and dysfunction. These are definitely emerging a lot at post-pandemic. And that's why you should really, seven reallys, be willing to go in and get counseling and speak to someone if you're going through things while you're in college. I'll have a lot more to say. I may have somebody come in and speak about that. I think I'll ask our church counselor to speak about that. I think that will help students a lot. Professional radicalization. Oh, this is important. Professorial radicalization and campus activism absorbs the interest of the student. I see this over and over and over again, and it distracts students from their studies. But these professors have agendas, and they'll radicalize students. I have a lot more to say about that in our last youth and parent session, and then with the youth only, because it is a cause on this program, a major cause for stopping school. General lack of adjustment to living away from your family and your home. This one's especially true, students, if your parents make nice, good fried chicken. Ooh, you can't have that fried chicken no more, or whatever at home. It could be certain things and customs at home, that you're just not, you're realizing you miss them. And this happens sometimes. Chronic physical or mental illness. These are sometimes issues that force a stop out of college. Lack of academic success. And that usually means there's a lack of preventative measures taken by students. Most colleges spend millions of dollars on academic centers, staffing them and funding them and giving them the equipment they need. And to their chagrin, students do not use the writing centers and math center and academic centers, and for that matter, the career development center. They're very, 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 very underutilized. And a lot of it is the students never needed help before, and they can't believe they need it in college, but it's very important to take preventative measures. Like a preventive measure also comes up when you've always been sort of weak in math and you see your first schedule, you have to take math. I say from class 1, you start going for help. That's a preventative measure to keep yourself from getting into trouble. I'm going to have a lot more. In fact, I'm going to have a speaker, Corliss, Dr. Bennett, come in and talk about this ain't high school and how to adjust to college life. She's going to be in person with you. We're going to have right there in the concourse of the church on a Saturday. We'll talk about that in a minute. Well, we have answers to college dropout, and I renamed the program. My team is just seeing this. College Success Prep Program. We used to call it, well, you'll see in a minute what we used to call it. There's an article, and I'll actually make sure in the video that I send this week, and I hope you're subscribed to my video channel. If you're interested in knowing how at the end, please let me know. I'll quickly show you where you can subscribe. But I'm going to do a video about this article that was published in November 2021. Can't believe I missed it in Forbes magazine, the shocking stats about success in college. Because in that article, oh, by the way, a bonus for looking at that article, I'll include the link for it below the video, is that it has the most comprehensive and great new scholarship list I've ever seen if you go down the article. Perhaps I'll put those links in the same video. In this article, they talk about some things, but here's some numbers that jumped out at me. And I knew about this, but I guess it reminded me. Less than 50% of students finish college in 4 years. Less than 60% finish it in 10 years. So that's a sobering statistic. And if you're in my job here, you definitely believe these numbers. However, since I'm usually talking to some of the greatest parents in the world, who know some of the greatest parents in the world, you might experience a higher graduation feeling. You don't hear about students stopping that much. But let me tell you, from my view, it does happen. And these are people that are not active in my program. I get the calls when they have to come home. And I feel so bad because had they met me and gotten some of the preparation, it might have been better. Who knows? To fight stop out, which we talked about a minute ago, we have our College Success Prep Program, formerly called the Life Confirmation Program. Mission statement: to give our high school graduates the knowledge, encouragement, information spiritual strength, and minor funding to finish college in 4 to 5 years. I like that. And we're going to have 5 sessions in May through July, plus a ceremony in July for the students. We will have a brief ceremony where we'll pray for the students and give them encouragement, give them a motivational talk, and some other things too to take with them to help them in their college journey. It's going to be after their graduation, but we'll have our own program. It'll be mandatory in order to receive a program sponsorship, because many of the students here, these are my highest GPA students, they do have high enough GPAs, 3.5 or above, to get a community sponsorship from our Gwen Thomas program. Now, the highest awards will be for those who participate in the sessions and the ceremony. So I won't even put the package out until probably the first week of July. We'll have a decision very quickly. Major topics to be covered. What am I going to cover in those sessions? This ain't high school, how to succeed academically in college. Race, ethnicity, and college success. Definitely going to. I think I'll be doing that session. Career in college. That's going to be me and my buddy. I will do that. Social relationships. You know I'm doing that one. Especially relationships with the opposite sex. Yep, we're going to talk about that. It's very important. I used to do that every Valentine's Day. I don't know why I stopped. Professors' teachings versus your family's values. Very important session. That you hold on to your family values when you go away to college. You don't come back totally different person about your values. And this is not necessarily only talking about Christian values. As you know, I am that, and so I'm going to definitely be concerned about that. But it's just values that in most of our families, we have very strong values as a culture. We really do. Gender challenges. I do have to cover gender this time. I really do, because some of these colleges are putting a lot of pressure on you on how you think about gender and what you're going to do in regard to gender. And there's much more. The dates will be Saturday mornings, 9:15 to 10:30 in person at West Angeles Cathedral Concourse, June 3rd and 17th off the 24th, July 1st and 8th. The registration will be online and free. You'll see that link coming out probably this week, midweek. The ceremony date time will be TBD, but it'll be later. It'll be right before they go away to college in August. Probably be the 3rd week of July, but I don't have a date yet for you, because I haven't figured out how I'm going to have it yet. We're trying to get outside facilities for the summer, and I like to use one of those outside facilities that I'm going to get for the summer program that we're getting ready to have. Sister Gloria.
I would love for Troy to attend, but unfortunately Southern has a summer program, bridge program, that starts June 27th. So are these
Well, the 3rd and 17th, I hope is here.
Okay.
It says 3rd and 17th. So she can come to those.
Those two, okay, perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but at least it's something.
Yes.
Right. She probably missed Corliss. This ain't high school. But I guess it's something that's required. Is it required?
She wants to go.
Oh.
It's a summer bridge program, and so we thought it was a good idea for her to go to get acclimated.
Okay. All right. Questions still? No problem. Contact Christina Martinez if you want to meet with me. You can email me. In-person meetings are available. I got a lot of ways to do it now. All right, y'all, I'm ready. All right, that's all I had. I'll take any additional questions that you might have. Right now, I'd be glad to do that since we finished at a reasonable time. And like I always try to do these in less than an hour. That was quite a few view graphs. What do you think? Any questions? No? Is I too thorough? Maybe I was.
I have a question, Deacon.
Yes.
Okay, so you do suggest summer school.
Did I?
Yes.
Summer 2-year college.
I'm sorry, repeat what you said?
2-year college, yeah.
Yes, through the college. Okay.
Two classes, I suggested.
Yes, through the college. Okay.
2-year colleges. A 2-year college. Now, I know the Southern University student has something on her campus, and that's fine. But our California 2-year colleges have classes.
Okay,
The student can take general ed and get college credit that way.
okay, before,
Yeah, they can get ahead. They can get ahead.
before she leaves for Howard. Okay, all
See, they're
right,
gonna want to not do anything in the summer. I don't agree with
yeah. No, she's working,
Well, I
that's
know.
why she's not here today.
And work while she's going to school. Work while
She's
she's
working, and that's another thing. So those Saturday mornings, she's usually at work.
That's the decision she'll have to make.
Yeah.
You want to get no help from me, it's fine.
Yes.
And she probably won't. By the way, just for the record, so y'all will know, I get that every time. And I love your daughter. There's no reflection on her. You know I like you. You know that, right? We talk all the time.
Yes,
All
we
right,
talk
so,
about
but I think these sessions are so valuable that, and I used to not want to say it, but I had enough of my grade students that didn't go, and the calls I got in year 2, 3, and 4, I wish I told them that. So I'm going to make a bold statement. I'm more valuable than work.
Yes, of course.
If I didn't think that, y'all
Of course you are.
Y'all probably fire me. Somebody like Michelle just fired me. If I don't think I'm more important than that, she just called Bishop and they fired me. I think and that's what usually happens. Making money becomes more important, but I think the stuff I'm gonna do gets them out of school in 3 years.
Yeah.
Stuff I'm gonna tell them keeps them out of trouble with the guys.
Yeah.
And the other trolls that are there.
Yeah.
If you can hear all the calls I got, it was from great students, things they got into, it was shocking. And I felt bad. I felt I could have had an effect. So now I do offer incentives. We do have a sponsorship program that comes out of that, which we have some funding and all that. They attend regularly, they have 3.5 or above. I got a lot of students that have 3.5 above this year. Hallelujah, glory to God, knock on wood. All right, good question. Tell her I would love to have her.
Okay, will do.
Bill, you have a question?
Yes, there was another one in the chat, and I can say because I've done it, but then I also wanted to let you answer. But
Go ahead, you do it.
Mariah's dad asked, how do we get community college class credits transferred to the university? I know for me, one of my summers, I took psychology. And basically how I did that is I looked to see the requirements for the class that I want to take at the community college, and I look at the requirements for the community college. So like the description of the class, I looked at both GW and El Camino because I took the class at El Camino.
I remember that.
If they matched up, I basically just had to fill out a form. So I just talked to my school directly about that. There was a department that basically worked on that. So I talked to them about that, and I filled out the form and sent it to them to be approved, because I basically just sent them a description of the class that I wanted to take at El Camino, and they approved it, and that's how it works. So basically you just would have to communicate with your college and make sure that the requirements for both of the classes align. And then they'll basically approve it or they won't.
Okay, now that's a good
General
answer.
Yeah,
but the cool thing is the courses I have listed, everybody's going to take them. I was careful not to have psychology. That's one of those ones that's weird.
Oh yeah, I just said that because I was the class.
Yes. And also if you're pre-med major, they're a little more strict. But I can tell you, sir, art history is going to be accepted everywhere. Because it's general ed. It's a general ed class. Look at the list that I have. And the way that works is you present those, some of them took credits in high school. I believe that Sister Moore is itching to tell y'all that she got 1 billion credit, not 1 billion, I'm over the top.
Yeah, 60.
60, that's right. I knew it was really close to 60. I didn't know for sure. And he's close to season 60 credits, she said. And a lot of them we were involved with. So I know about that. She did a whole lot of stuff. Now, what's going to happen with Anderson is he comes in as a first-year student. There's nothing different. But then the registrar office gives him those credits once he sits down in the seat. It automatically happens. And then his advisor sees it and he's advised giving those classes. And every one of those classes will count for credit. So I know the classes he took. But Bailey does bring up one thing that's very important. When you start getting out to your second and third year and it's pre-med or engineering, and it's not a general ed, or it's one that they don't consider general ed, there's all that kind of weird, then I think you should. But you know, intro to American history, that's going to be okay. You know, sociology, that's going to be okay. Okay, and they'll get that credit. So I think this summer, and keep it real simple in the summer. You know, I mean, I think like please keep it simple. You know, art history, art appreciation, intro to music. These are all going to be transferable credits. And let me be blunt, get something you think you're going to get an A in. You know, a very functional class you should take. Here's one that's functional that will actually function. The others do too, but this was more. I didn't mention it today. I can't believe it. Intro to speech. Because those teachers are going to make you get up in front of class. Maybe you need to take a speech class now and do intro to communication. Just trying to give you all ideas. And some class where they won't wear you out. Don't do philosophy or you know, biology 202, the genome of rats. Don't do nothing like that. Just take that. That was a joke. Okay. For pre-med. Take something that's really going to be valuable and frankly easy to get an A in. I'm just trying to be real. And then you start off thinking you bad, as you are anyway. And then you take the classes for the freshman year and you knock them out. All my students going to research school like UCLA, UC Berkeley, and all the other UCs aren't here, but y'all, you know, research school, you're not gonna get a lot of student support. So you really need to, if you're a little bit weak in your math or your science or your writing, I would definitely make one of the courses a writing class. Whereas in CSU, you'll get more support. Anyway, you got everything I know now. I think I killed that question. Me and Bailey killed that. We destroyed it too much. Anybody else? Nope.
Actually, Deacon, my question is regarding the enrichment classes for the summer. You know, I have some mentees asking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let me go ahead and answer that publicly. Thank you very much. There's what's going to happen, what I believe is going to happen. So I believe we're going to be approved to use Dorsey and or the Obama Sports Complex for our classes. And we will probably choose to put 80% of our program there and 20% at our church facility. Now, there's still a piece of our church that's being used for storage that I just became aware of. And it is plenty big enough, and I couldn't believe that it's available. If I can get that room cleaned up, then I'll be all at the cathedral site. But the building will not be ready until the end of summer. So that's really where we are. You should tell them to register. I haven't really even done my social media push, and we already are getting people interested in the class. I got several texts today. I'm telling people just register, definitely pre-register, because my rooms there have a finite size, and I didn't think about that. Dorsey informed me I can only have 18 students in one of the rooms where I think I might need more. Not Dorsey, it was the property people. So definitely tell them to register early, you know, and we're rolling. We're going to be in 2 sites this year. At LA site, probably be Dorsey and or Obama Sports Complex in the Cathedral. And we'll be in Lakewood too. We have 5 signups for Lakewood already. We'll be down there doing pre-algebra, algebra, and algebra 2. I know I'm using the wrong name. They're supposed to be foundational math, algebra, and advanced algebra, but whatever. We're doing those in Lakewood at the Burns Center in Lakewood. Okay. We got a little bit of a foot into Long Beach and Cerritos and Lakewood area. People will come to us. That's where we are. And you know, you saw I cut down the amount of classes. I'm not offering as much this year, but I'm gonna tear it up in 24. 24, I'm gonna be going. I'm flying. I'm gonna use every room in that new building. Anybody else? All right. You know how to get a hold of me. I'll be contacting some of you. Meaning Sister Erica. Anybody feel free to, if you want to call a conference with me, you and your student, or you need to get a hold of me about some of the things I covered after you think about it. There's a copy of the presentation available in the chat if you scroll up. And please grab a copy. If you want to be emailed to you, we'll do that. I think we saw Sister Moore said, hey, email that to me. So we'll email it to her.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, it's not showing
not
up in my
downloading
chat.
it. Yeah, that has something to do with the security features on your computer. It's trying to protect you.
Oh, okay.
It's saying we ain't letting you get that download.
I will email the presentation to you, by the way. I saw that in the chat.
Yeah, she saw it.
Can I get
No,
one
you
too?
always do.
All right, send one to Denobi too.
Yeah, please.
Write that down, Bailey. Send one to each one of them. All right, thank you all.
I would appreciate, Troy's mom would appreciate one too.
Okay, good. You guys.
I thought I saw an email to Alberto Moore to send it to her. So I just sent her an email, but.
Oh, and no, that was me asking for it.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we'll tell you what, we'll know who was here. We'll send each person a copy. Bailey, I'll send a list to you who was here. I actually can
Okay.
click Zoom, keeps it on who everybody who logged in. Because y'all had to type for the thing, and then when you came here, it counted you. And there were 5 others that signed up, didn't come, but that's okay. All right, thank you all very much.
And congratulations, everybody.
you.
Y'all kids are
Yeah, you know,
amazing.
I'm doing something in the video for your kids, but congratulations. It's not after May 1st, but you're already picked. So wish you all the very best. Thank you, Alberta. That's for show. And let me know how I can help from here. All right.
Thank you, always
Thank
Deacon
you.
Wilson.
Thank you, Deacon.
God bless you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless you.
God bless you too, Sister Gloria.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Anderson.